I came from the A4 community, so it was a lot easier. I knew how to build models pretty much. Like they have to teach me like, okay, this is legal, this is illegal, but other than that, I could like build big models from scratch.
Yes, please.
Milan was a teacher before joining the LEGO Group. His passion for LEGO Technic as a fan gave him enough experience to score a job as a junior designer back in 2012, and has bought a set such as the Finer Plane and the Land Rover Defender.
Welcome, Milan. What attracted you to Technic?
I don't know, like I liked it even when I was a kid, but there were some limitations with the studied system that I kind of didn't like, and I put Lego when I was like 50, like 10 years later, and it became basically my obsession. Not saying that I was the first one, but I was one of the few that kind of pioneered like building animals from Technic, ducks from the Fire Plane, and bluebirds from my very first set, the tiny twin rotor helicopter, and there's a dragon just like above my head and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really cool use of Technic parts. Because do you find that difficult not having a lot of smaller parts accessible as much in the Technic world?
I'm not afraid to use like system parts in my sets. Like the front of the mech anthem is mainly system built, and as well the headlamp sections and the neckline on the Land Rover Defender is just built from system parts, because why not use like the best of both?
Now, as I said, I'm not a big Technic guy, but I did a review on the Top Gear rally car, and while building it, part of the review, I figured out that it had 39% of the set was pins. Can you ever have too many pins in Technic?
No, never. It's like if you're like building a like scale model plane, you need a glue to fix the parts together. Technic models wouldn't be as sturdy and as stable as they are right now.
What challenges do you set yourself to make each design better than the last one?
Well, I'm always trying to push myself and like, okay, I wasn't able to make this in that model, but what if I managed to squeeze that function inside this one? So like, for example, for the Land Rover Defender, I was basically told like, build the biggest and most complicated gearbox and fit it inside this size of car, which proves to be quite a challenge, since usually we put big gearboxes into like 1-8 scale cars, and this one is pretty much like 1-10, 1-11.
Feel like you're taking your work home with you when you're at work building all day, and then you're coming home and building for fun as well?
At work, I have to rebuild the models like whatever, 20, 50 times, some of the sections, maybe even more. At home, I usually just give it like one good shot when I'm just like improving on the go. And afterwards, what comes us as a result.
What does the average week look like for a Lego designer?
Usually I go to work, read the emails in the morning, which is like kind of the more boring stuff. I get myself a cup of tea, and afterwards I start building, put some favorite music into my headphones, and I focus on building as much as I can.
Right, so you're approaching your 9th year with the LEGO Group. How many sets a year would you be producing?
Like on average right now, I am pretty much on like 3 models a year, but like my first years were a bit more productive, I have to say, because I work mainly on the smaller models.
So for something like the Land Rover, what time frame does LEGO give you to work on them?
Can't be too specific, but basically if you build on something that is like super tiny, you have from like few weeks. And if it's something that's really complex and as well involves like a license or an IP partner, then you usually start the dialogues a lot earlier. So it basically varies between like few weeks to few years.
In that sense, which is more challenging? Working with a complete free concept or working with a licensed product?
Probably can't say that one of them is more challenging than the other, because when you're doing a licensed product, you have the real thing, unless it's like the new Defender where it's still like in development while you're trying to build the model. So it's in that sense, it's quite easy. You know what it's going to look like or what it's supposed to look like. If you're designing something where you have the total freedom, you're trying to like catch the essence of the vehicle that you're right now building, being it a speedboat or race car or whatever. and you're trying to come up with something that doesn't look like anything but looks cool anyway, which sometimes proves kind of difficult.
You said you've got to create, 3-4 sets a year. Do you have a meeting with the big wigs and you take in kind of a design ideas portfolio and present that to them?
More and more licensing partners. So some of the things are kind of given, but besides that, we always can come up with like concepts that we want to show to the rest of the team. And sometimes it's just like, scaling the model down or up.
Yeah.
It still should be, something that is like interesting based on like real life cars, vehicles, machinery, and something that, shows some functions that were not done before or are done in a new, never seen before way, because that's, we don't want to like stay on the same spot every year. We want to like improve our stuff. We want to bring some newness, and not only like color-wise and shape-wise, but it should be as well like new functions.
Do the system designers ever come to you for advice when they're using a model that utilizes a lot of Technic, like the 89 Batmobile, for example?
Yeah, all the time.
Advice man.
Not all of them. We have like some system designers that are really good at Technic, and they could probably just get there and start as Technic designers immediately, but some of them struggle with Technic a little bit more. The increase like of the Technic in other sets, and the increase of the functionality in other sets has been like increasing like in the past, 5 years. So some of them are not used to that much, and I actually did like a small detour from my teaching job, and right now I'm teaching basically new designers how to use Technic when they are combining it with system bricks. So yeah.
What kind of system models are you into?
But I have like the old Millennium Falcon and the X-Wing, and just to be able to display like the old Millennium Falcon, I had like a custom built table with glass panels and on the top and on the sides. So I could like protect it from dust and sunlight. So
Yeah, right.
And children.
Besides that, I like a bit of Ninjago. I was a big fan of Nexonites as well, because there was quite a good balance of like Technic and system in it. Creator 3-in-1 is good. I basically love anything that has alternate models in it. Afterwards, some like ideas projects like the Voltron, as well bought like the T-Rex Rampage from Jurassic Park, because I just love the look of the gigantic T-Rex.
If you were ever going to leave the Technic department, do you think you could kind of slip into the systems team?
If it would ever happen, which is very unlikely, I would probably ask to be moved either to create a 3-in-1, something like Ninjago, which has a lot of like functions.
Are you too valuable in the Technic department that they won't let you go?
For me, I came from the A4 community, so it was a lot easier. I knew how to build models pretty much. Like they have to teach me like, okay, this is legal, this is illegal, but other than that, I could like build big models from scratch.
How long have you been in AFOL?
Before I came to LEGO, actually for 7 years, but I still consider myself being an AFOL. I still like follow the different forums like HeroBricks and Brothers Brick and whatever. I look out for like new cool stuff, and I tend to show it as well to the rest of my design team. Like, look, this guy built this amazing huge truck or space shuttle or whatever.
Well, on that, so you must spend a lot of time online looking at other people's creations. Have you got a favorite Technic mock that you've seen recently?
I think there would be like hundreds of them. I actually have like special folder with thousands of pictures in it, basically of somebody else's creations being like system mindstorms, Technic ones. So yeah.
What advice could you give to some of our Australian Technic builders?
Look at the official building instructions, because that can teach you how the certain functions and mechanisms work, and there's plenty of other mocks and alternate models that you can afterwards build online for free. So if you got a set and you just want to explore what else is possible, just try to build someone else's creation. Maybe you will not like it, but it will still teach you like, okay, this is the way I want to go, or this is definitely not the way I want to build.
And what do you look to for inspiration?
I pretty much just look around myself, and nature is like a gigantic source of inspiration for me, since I like building Technic animals. even like just understanding like how do the machines work. If you just look at human body or something like this, if you see like a digger arm, it's basically your arm, and all the ligaments and everything, how it moves, it's basically the hydraulic pistons and everything. So just to understand this, the nature helps tremendously in that.
Thank you so much for joining us for Brickvention Online.
No worries, it's been a pleasure.